Good evening, folks. Welcome to After Hours, where authors go to unwind. I'm joined tonight by somebody you probably recognise, and somebody that once joked whether we're in so many different projects together, we should live together. All the way from the Costa del Galway is David Green. Hello, mate.
It wasn't a joke. It's a very heartfelt offer which you turned down. So
no, I said it'd be useful. We could just shout down the corridor, shouldn't we? Couldn't we? Instead of going on Zoom every 5 minutes.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. You're not handier. It's something that they should just do some kind of commune every so often.
A writer's commune. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah.
We can have Keystone Healy in the attic.
He can be making the drinks. I was thinking of coming on, and I was like, obviously, the last time I wasn't too drunk. I said I was drinking wine back then in lockdown 1, I think that was. But I saw Keystone, and I thought, Jesus, he really put them away on that one. And I was thinking, should I get as drunk as Kisto did? But I don't think I've ever been as drunk as that in my entire life.
Now, you see, I daren't, because it'll just be completely unintelligible. Yeah. I'll slip back into Broad Macclesfield and nobody will understand a word I'm saying. Well,
Man, he really he really went for it, didn't he?
Oh, it was fun. That was great fun. To be fair, I had already done a live reading and some other bits and bobs, so I'd been drinking all evening. And it was 1 a.m. when we did that. So I was already a bit sort of on the way, but blimey, he made me look like a choir boy that night. It's just
he was fairly well prepared for it,
oh yeah.
So so just a rock show for me at the minute, which is it's nice actually. It's I don't know if they do it in England, but it's Guinness's lager.
Oh, they used to do a few of them. There was Hop, which was like bathwater, but they also did Kilkenny, or was that Murphy's that did Kilkenny?
And that was Murphy.
I don't know, but I had a taste for it at one point.
Well, this one, I'll bring up to the finger. It says it is light and crisp.
Ooh.
And it is light and crisp. It just tastes like Heineken, which is ironic, really, because Heineken is also Irish. It's made in Ireland.
Yeah, I know. Oh, the one that makes me laugh at the minute. Have you seen the, I think it's Goodfellas Pizza. The Goodfellas Pizza have got this advert. We're not promoting Goodfellas Pizza, let me just say that now. They've got this advert, right? And it's all the godmother or the grandmother or something anyway. Instead of the godfather. And it's got all these people going, oh yeah, she needs the respect. She only likes the finest Italian pizzas. And it comes up Chicago town, made in Ireland.
Yeah. Well, we all the people that made pizza from Italy came to Ireland and started Chicago.
That's it. That's it. Yeah. Galway's a well-known haunt for the mafia, isn't it? Yeah.
Galway.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's a little bit it's funny enough, actually. I had someone asking me this recently to help them with a story that they're making about...
what about Goodfellas Pizza being the Irish mafia?
about stuffed crust Chicago town takeaway pizza. No, about... they're writing a story set in America about Irish...
about the Irish sort of population out there, yeah.
Yeah, so they were asking me questions about it, and it was funny.
You're not bloody Irish.
No, I know. Well, I am, but I'm half Irish, half English. But there's more Irish people than I am. But it was funny because there was the person made a post in a group saying can anyone help me with this, and about 5 people within 2 minutes all tagged me, and I was like, I can't really say no. Because
have you ever heard him speak? He sounds like a mank.
And it was stuff asking me to translate Gaelic and stuff, and it was geez, my Gaelic isn't I can read it, but I can't really speak it or anything.
I'm the same with the Scottish. I can read it, but I can't pronounce it at all.
Yeah.
Same
Yeah,
with Welsh. I mean, again, I can read bits and pieces, but you need that sort of
well, you need
that
to be drunk.
sound, that
Yeah, you
thing.
need to be drunk out of your mind to speak Welsh. That's the rule, isn't it? And you need to have
Funnily
a
enough, one of my mates who's Welsh gave when I first I said something to him we were in a club, we're in Slimelight in London, which is the big 3-story goth club in London. And deafening music. We're on the top floor, which is sort of the EBM room. So it's all this pounding, like stuff, like German techno and all that kind of stuff. And I stood there at the bar, and I'm hammered. And I say to him, mate, what did you just say? Were you speaking Welsh at me? And he proceeded to try and give me a Welsh lesson in this club at 3 a.m. So all I got was it was like some remix.
It's pretty accurate. I mean, you just said that you were going to the shops, so.
All right, cool. Yeah.
The thing is with Welsh as well. Like, you need to have a really heavy head cold at the same time to get the really sound like Llandudno and all this. It's like there's no C. It's just an L.
But the Scottish is the same. I mean, they have that in there as well. It is a Celtic thing, isn't it? It's
yeah, I suppose so.
We obviously lost it somewhere along the line.
Yeah, that's probably the French's fault.
Probably
the French's fault because it's interesting the English kind of lineage because they you'll know this, but for people maybe that are listening may not know it, but the original Britons are Welsh. And Irish and some Irish. The Celts basically the original ones. And then when the
original Scots are the Irish. Because it was the Calvinists and all that, wasn't it? They sort of went, it's not wet enough here. Let's go somewhere wetter.
It's a bit colder as well.
Yeah,
and more rocky. So when the Vikings kind of invaded, they were forcing the Romans first obviously came in, and then forced everyone into Wales and practically enslaved everyone. And then the Vikings came in. So the Britons crept out from Wales and Celta and came back across, and then the Vikings came and was like, no, get back over there.
Get back in your box.
And started doing that. And then that went on for a while. And then once they kind of amalgamated the people that stayed and the Britons that stayed in England, which were meshed with Romans and then mixed with Vikings. The French came over and were like, we're having a bit of this and there's nothing you can do about it. And then most of British history and everything and British mythology then was completely, which was a lot of it was Irish, which is Irish mythology, also about the Twat and all that kind of stuff. That was completely bastardized by the French. And I mean, it already was by the Christians and then by the French again. So that's why Arthur is a really interesting.
Yeah.
You can chart British history from when it became romanticized, and then that's where the French kind of started putting their spin on it. So Lancelot and all these kind of people.
Well, I actually read a lot of that stuff fairly recently because I wrote a story for an anthology, which is Lovecraft meets Arthurian legend, so Shadows over Avalon, and I read a lot of that stuff then, and because I've read a lot of it when I was younger, but and then you see and I've watched all the TV shows and all that. And it's kind of I remember that now. The actual stuff as opposed to what Richard Wilson and Victor Meldrew in a wizard's hat and all that kind of stuff.
Well, it's you can see now when you're a bit older when you look at it, you can see when I was growing up, we get the French version straight off
the Green Knight and all that. That was French, wasn't it, originally?
Lancelot and all that kind of stuff. That was all French and everything. That was all put in to make kind of the kind of more romance of it side of it. And that's the kind
Gawain came in around that same sort of time.
Yeah,
he was all the Maiden's Night and all this kind of. Look at me, aren't I pretty? Kind of.
Yeah, it was I mean, they were just they were just warlords basically. That was
pretty much, yeah. Well, they were some of them were actually, if you look at them and actually look at the history, they're actually robber barons.
Yeah,
That's my land now.
Yeah, pretty much.
You know?
I mean, that's the way it was, wasn't it? Like, no,
Yeah, yeah.
there was nothing like that. I
It's
mean,
like wake up in the morning and put your fence post a bit closer to somebody else's house.
yeah. Like there was a few people that kind of did that thing where like, and there's a good series by Bernard Cornwell who does the same thing where he's like,
I love Cornwall.
yeah, you might have read these ones, and it's like Arthur's like a
I've
Roman.
not actually there to read. They're in my to read thing at the minute. Yeah, I'm a big fan of Sharp. I'm a big fan of the Sharp books. Well, I started off watching the TV show when I was younger, and it was quality. I've actually got the box set. It's great stuff.
Yeah, bastards.
Bastard.
I was flying back from
Nobody
Ireland,
says bastard quite like Sean Bean.
I was flying back from Ireland one time because they filmed a fair bit of Sharp in Ireland, and
yeah, they did. Yeah,
I was flying back from Ireland one time, and pretty much the whole cast was on the plane. It was like it was like Ryanair as well.
Ryanair.
Yeah. But no, yeah. So like, it's an interesting thing. It's a great thing to kind of like chart, like to look through, because you have a few people that like the Cornwall series is really good. But Arthur's basically a legionnaire that's been left behind. He wanted to stay in England, basically. But most people, like where it kind of came from, was that like he was just a warlord that united the clans against the Saxons. So it's interesting though, when you kind of, as someone who grows up in England, you kind of, the first things that you learn about in school when you kind of come across Arthur and all that kind of stuff. I don't know why we're talking about this, but why not?
Why not? What I love about these interviews, you just go and see where it goes, see where it happens.
So like, you learn about, you kind of just get the French version first, and then if you're still into it after that, and you start reading more things, and you kind of you start seeing where it actually came from and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah,
that's one of the things that Tolkien was like kind of railing against when he made Lord of the Rings, was that he was kind of like, there's no English mythology anymore because it's such a
well, no, because I mean, a lot of it was completely lost, wasn't it? I mean, you get pockets of it in there in the sort of the more local folklore, as opposed to like countrywide folklore. You go to these little places and they'll have these little Celtic legends and these little bits and pieces, which is why I like people like Arthur Machen, because he does all that kind of stuff. But his is all Welsh mythology.
Yeah, exactly.
You know, about the little people in the hills and all that. And
like the Welsh were able to keep it a lot easier, and I think it was a pity that they kind of I suppose it was the English fault, was that they kind of tried to wipe all that away, and it was good that it
same with Cornwall. You know, when Cornwall was its own little country at the bottom there.
Yeah. No, it's interesting. I often think like how many writers are like part-time anthropologists, and I think it's something that really helps with a lot of different, like, even if you're doing, you know, and not to disparage or anything, but even if you're doing horror, like if you're setting it in a different kind of environment or culture or something, you have to like kind of learn about some of these kind of things.
Oh God, yeah. Well, that's why we all have really interesting browser history, isn't it? Because it's like a lot of the things I write. I mean, there's a lot of stuff about corpses in my stuff and body horror. So you should see some of the stuff. It reads like a how-to serial killer guide. Well, I think it's just like how to dispose of a body.
How to do it in the least bloodthirsty way. Like how to do it with no evidence whatsoever.
Minimal fuss. Yeah. Well, it's like I found out that one of the best ways to burn a body is because, you know, obviously if you start setting fire to somebody's corpse, people smell burning meat. Best thing to do, stick a tire, like an old like bike tire in a tube, something like that, something with rubber, because it takes the meaty smell right out. You just get the carbon.
There you go.
There you go. There's a top tip for any budding serial killers out there.
I remember like the first season of Breaking Bad where they dissolve the body.
I haven't seen it. I haven't watched it. Yeah,
sorry.
That's all right. I'm not actually that interested.
I won't say who it is though, but basically they have to dissolve this body, and they do it in a really accurate way. Yeah, and then the same with the meth making in it as well was apparently too accurate. And
they got in trouble for that, didn't they? Because it was kind of like, do you remember when you were a kid There was one of those things that's almost become like an urban legend. Was the Anarchist's Cookbook?
Yes.
You remember that? Everybody talked about it when you were a kid. And yeah, how to make how to make methamphetamine out of like what's under your sink. You know?
Yeah. But I think I must have been kind of like sheltered a little bit for a while, because like when I came across Breaking Bad and like meth, I'd heard of meth and I'd seen all those kind of like pictures of people that were like before meth and after meth and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's terrifying. And
God,
I didn't really know what it was. And then like I think the first thing that I saw like that was about it was that Jennifer Lawrence film called Winter's Bone.
Never heard of it.
It's her first big film. She was when she was a teenager. She was really, really good in it. But that's
Who's
like
Jennifer Lawrence again? Is she the one who was in Hunger Games?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before the Hunger Games, anyway. I think she got nominated for an Oscar for it as well. Like it was her first role. It's like an indie film.
I lose track of all these actresses because a lot of them look exactly the same. It's like the American sort of leading actress. They all look kind of same, and they did in the 80s as well. They were all like with the blonde, and then but we've got it the same thing over here with our TV presenters. They all look exactly the same. Like I can't tell sometimes who is Holly Willoughby and who is Fern Cotton and who is.
Yeah, it's a comfort thing, I suppose, isn't it? Like for people. Just want the same thing all the time.
It's quite funny if you watch like, because I mean, I've still got like a load of VHS tapes from like the 80s and the 90s and that, and you watch the adverts and how you can tell like how the decades have changed. It's really quite interesting.
Yeah. The clothes as well, like you can see.
Oh God, yeah.
And, you know, like the 80s get like I don't really get 80s nostalgia that much. I mean, I lived through the 80s.
I am 80s nostalgia.
There was some good music and there was some cracking films, right? And there's no in that. There's some brilliant films, but like there was also some utter dross as well, and there's some like really bad of everything. But my point was
that's the same with every decade, isn't it? I mean,
yeah, exactly. Because my point is that like when people think about like 80s being a bit tacky, like the beginning of the 90s was
the worst. Dayglow.
Like, when you see stuff from the beginning of the 90s, it's like, what happened? Like,
it's like everyone was wearing them stupid shades with like fluorescent pink bands around them, and the little disco lights and all that kind of crap, and these huge Hawaiian like the Bermuda shorts,
big bag stuff like the round glasses, but like they were coloured. Like I have a theory about this. What? Because it's like this is when like Britpop came big, and Britpop was basically bands ripping off the Beatles. Like,
well, the thing is, a lot of that actually came first. It came out of the Manchester scene of the late 80s. So a lot of it came from like the Happy Mondays and Spiral Carpets and all that kind of stuff. And you've got to remember that them guys were all completely off their tits.
They were,
so an entire fashion was dreamt up by a bunch of Manchester scallies who were off their face on ecstasy.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as well, like the reason that it's like a real like crap version of 60s fashion, and the music was like,
well, they called it like the second summer of love, didn't they? But it lasted about 3 years. Go figure.
Because the thing is though, like all those people, so like people like Sean Ryder and like Noel Gallagher and all these people, they were born like in the late 60s and early 70s, so they grew up listening to the Beatles, the Rolling Stones, and all that kind of stuff. And like they probably like especially if they were born like mid 60s, they would have been like, so they'd have that real nostalgia of the 60s and the early 70s.
Sergeant Pepper, innit? I mean, a lot of it is Sergeant Pepper. Not so much the Mondays, because they kind of marched and beat their own drummer. I love the Happy Mondays, incidentally. I actually had a fanboy moment the other week because Bez friended me. I was like, yeah, Bez.
He friended you, and just like
with his maracas, man. Yeah.
He's a mad bastard. He is.
No, he's a legend. I love him.
That's pretty what it is like, and it's like they had that real nostalgia for it, and so when this group of people got to like their early 20s, this was like late 80s, early 90s, and they're the ones that are setting the trends then. So I was like kind of thinking like, what the hell is like, what did we do? I was just the most kind of bland generation.
Nah, look. Goths. We had us lot. We had punks. You had
We
your
did
flannel
top
shirt wearing hippies from Seattle.
all that stuff was there anyway. All that we have been able to bring, like our generation, the only thing that we brought to the table that was different is top knots. That's it. That's our legacy.
I don't know. Hey! I'm Gen X, mate. I'm Generation X, mate.
Yeah.
The disenfranchised.
I got called a millennial once, and I was kind of like, but I remember I was an adult when the millennium. When I was 16 going on 17. I was in college. I had a job. Like
I was working I was the sous chef in a kitchen in just outside of Winslow, and on the Millennium, and we finished really late. And I just ended up getting absolutely banjaxed in the pub after we shot, and that was my millennium.
Those street parties everywhere. Me and my mates were just like wandering around.
Well, this was out in the countryside. This was like miles away from anywhere. So it was basically, we'll just set off some fireworks in the garden and get in the beer garden and get pissed. You know.
I was in Warrington, and there was in a place called Penketh in Warrington.
I know it. Yeah.
There were just parties everywhere on the streets, and we were just walking around, just going into people's houses. All the doors were open, and you just pick up drinks. And
this is it. Everybody has all these cool stories, and there's me sitting there after work moaning about a waiter or something. You know, that's a lot of being a chef. You know what I mean?
This is what I mean. So I remember it. Like, I didn't work on New Year's Day, but then on the 2nd of January, I went.
I did.
Part time. Yeah, you would have done. Yeah.
I did. They had crinkle cut beef that morning.
Oh, did they? Yeah.
Like, seriously, crinkle cut, because I was so hungry. I was so like this, and that my head chef, he'd been with me all night. And because he was the boss, he was like, you can cut the calf the beef this morning. It's like, you bastard.
Yeah, well.
so yeah, the beef came out kind of crinkle cut.
This serves them right, though. Like, God, you know, that was...
It goes out on New Year's Day. I mean, what is some people's problem, man?
It was a great sign. It was probably those people that didn't do any shopping because they thought the world was going to end.
Yeah. The millennium bug.
With all those mad bastards.
Yeah.
So, like, this is what I mean. So, like, people my age, because I'm a little bit younger than you. Like, I'm a few years younger than you, I think. And like,
so, not that much, but
not that much. No, but like, you would say that like you're Generation X, but I think I'm a bit too young for Generation X. And then Generation Z is the next one, isn't that? Probably a bit too old. But I'm definitely not a millennial because it's like it's not like I didn't grow up in the two. I was already like. 17 when it turned to 2000, like I was already on my way. It's like, so I don't know. It's like I read something one time with someone, I can't even remember.
Well, the problem is there's all these different studies, and each one of them says a different bloody date. It's like some of them say you're a millennial if you're born in the mid-70s. I'm like, no, that's Generation X. So what are you talking about?
I was reading from someone, I can't remember who it was now, but it's someone who's famous, and it's a woman actually, but I can't remember who it was, and she's the same age as me, and she was like saying that my age group, which is kind of like people that were born like 81 to like 85, 86, are like a lost generation where they don't.
It is a kind of a lost generation, yeah. Well, because my partner's in that same bubble because she was born in 85, and she's got the same thing. And we were actually looking it up the other week and going, so what exactly are you?
What are you? Label us, please label us. All I know is that we lived through, this is our third recession that we've been through.
Yeah, I know,
yeah. A global pandemic as well to add to it as well. It's been a fun time for us people. So like since the last time I was on here, I think the first lockdown was just about to finish, or it had finished.
Yeah, we were just about. I think we were just coming out of it. I think we came out of it slightly earlier than you. I think we just come out of it. You were coming out of it about a week later or something.
Well, back in it now anyway.
Yeah,
3 weeks back in it.
Yeah, same. Yeah,
3 weeks to go. But as you can see from my surroundings, I'm no longer in that prison that I was in. I have some.
Oh yeah, you've escaped the Galloway open prison. Yeah. There's actually a feature in there. You're not just like institutional cream walls. Yeah.
These are my wardrobes.
Oh.
A little sneak peek there. Let's see.
Yeah.
That's
where you keep your Jedi robes.
It is my Jedi robe. Yeah. That's my
Obi-Wan Green.
that's my ensuite bathroom. So it's not just like a little cupboard. So yeah,
Ooh.
see all the sides. This is my office. I
All
moved.
right.
I moved into. I actually got myself a little like desk and everything that I could actually work on. Because I usually either worked on the kitchen table or I just sat in bed with the thing on a pillow, like
Yeah.
and then just my back would. This is my age now. At the end of it, I'd be like, oh, my back is killing me.
Yeah.
From
My
just,
my my office is basically the coffee table.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, I decided that I'd get myself like a proper. I set myself up properly, like because like why not?
Yeah. No.
Like,
Yeah.
what
Exactly.
else is
Why
to
not?
do?
If you can.
Yeah. But I've
Yeah.
gone proper. I think I've gone proper way window because like so like this is the desk here. So when I'm facing here, like straight on, there's the window to the
Mm.
bedrooms to the front. So I have to keep closing the blinds because otherwise I just kind of like have the blinds open and kind of just looking around,
Yeah.
seeing where I'm
Just
up to.
sitting out.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah,
yeah, yeah.
I have to do things
In
like
my
that. I'm
robe.
very easily distracted. I'm distracted by shiny things. I'm basically a bit of a magpie, so it's a nightmare in the summer when I'm like 5 stories up, and you've got like the sun coming through the window, so you've got all these like sparkly bits on the balcony. I'm just like, ooh, shiny, shiny, shiny. Just yeah.
Yeah, so you'd get nothing done where I am then because you'd be looking at everyone coming and going. Because I live in a little like cul-de-sac kind of thing, and it's like
All right, yeah.
yeah, so it's
Oh
like
man, you could be a proper curtain twitcher then. You
yeah,
know, you could stand there and be a proper curtain twitcher. Yeah.
yeah, I pretty much
I
am
lived in a
because
cul-de-sac once. It was a friend's house. So I moved in his spare room. And it was like quite a posh area. And here's me rocking in at like 4 a.m. like, and all this, and you could see every curtain twitch when I walked past it. And I'd be there going,
like,
woo-hoo-hoo.
oh, that goth's here again.
Yeah. That strange person. I bet he's a Satanist. Bet he worships the devil.
Yeah, how
Yeah.
little you.
I love terrifying suburbia. It's great fun.
Like, suburbia in England is like I kind of like wish it was a bit more like, in a way some way I do and some way I don't. But like one of my favorite films is The Burbs.
Oh,
I
yeah.
love that film.
That's
And,
hilarious. Yeah.
yeah, it's great. And I just that whole like American suburbia thing is so alien to us because like
Oh God, yeah. Yeah.
you would call it the suburbs like this where I live now. There's like 8 houses and you say hello to everyone and there's like one
Yeah.
people that like I'd probably go for a walk with the fellow would take the kids for a walk and stuff
Yeah.
during that.
No,
But I'm not
that's suburbia by British standards.
yeah, I'm not friends
Yeah.
with any of them. But if it was in America, like
Be
I'd
coming around
never
your house every night with a lasagna and stuff. Yeah.
exactly. Like and it's a completely like gated communities, like they fascinate me, like because they're
Yeah. I mean, it's the Stepford thing, isn't it? It's
yeah.
like the gated community. I don't know, but it's something I've always found that kind of thing slightly sinister.
Yeah,
When I
exactly.
was growing up, they were making a new estate on like bolted onto the arse end of Macclesfield, right, called the Titherington Links Estate,
Yeah.
and they were just making it, and it was all these identical houses, and they had like almost like the American compliancy officers, these guys that went around measuring people's lawns to see how long their grass was, because they had like every third house was something like a show house. It was really strange. And it was just before, I must have been like 15, 16 at the time. And me and all my mates would be out and it stopped raining. So we'd all bolt into one of these show houses and sit down and pretend to read the leaflets. I'm here for my dad. He's thinking of buying one of these things. Like,
we're all moving house when we're 16 and we're thinking of getting one together.
yeah, we're thinking of clubbing together and buying one of these. Yeah.
Yeah. No, like it's strange. Like there is a few gated communities in the UK, but they're not very popular. Not as popular anywhere.
Well, the thing is, I imagine as well, just because I know the British mentality, but I imagine there's a real stigma that if you said to somebody, because I mean, right, I grew up in a town with a boys' school, right, with a public school, with the boarding and all that.
Yeah.
If you told somebody in a Macclesfield pub that you went to King's School, you'd probably get your head kicked in.
Yeah.
or at least you'd have a really miserable time because everybody would be going, "Oh, what do you do?"
Yeah, yeah. It's a real southern thing. Like,
Yeah.
it's something that's not like so unusual down south in England, but up north, like
Mm.
there's a real
I
all the
don't. I
doors.
can't see. I can't see that working up north. I mean,
No, no, not really. Like people just can't be asked that kind of stuff. Like people have like a real healthy suspicion of each other.
yeah, yeah.
Like
It's the whole compliance thing. It's just like because I don't know how accurate it like what I know of it is because obviously I only know of it from movies, right?
mm,
Films and TV shows.
yeah,
But
yeah.
like the thought of having some jobs worth come and knock on my door one Sunday morning and say you need to go and cut your grass. It's like half an inch long. I'd
Oh yeah,
probably headbutt them.
yeah, yeah. I mean,
Bugger off.
that's a really like fair reaction, I think,
Oh
for
yeah,
anyone.
Sunday morning, somebody knocks on
Yeah,
your door. Yeah,
anyone knocking on your door on a Sunday morning, like just get
fair
lost. Like
game, man. Yeah, fair
there's no
game.
reason for you to be here
Yeah,
because Sunday morning. No, like I am. I'm one of these people that like I'm very loath to answer my door if it just rings. I don't know that someone's coming round. Like I want them to tell me they're coming round first before.
I'm the same, mate. I have a mute button on my intercom, and unless I know Amazon's coming, it gets pressed.
Yeah. It's a weird thing, but then again, like my Irish side, like the Irishness of it is weird as well because like Ireland is one of these places where like, especially out in the country, like you would never use your front door. You'd leave your front door locked, but then you'd have
Yeah,
like
and
a
use
door.
the back.
Yeah,
Yeah, the tradesman's entrance around the
yeah,
back. Yeah,
and it would always be unlocked, and people would just wander in whenever they
yeah,
wanted. But that's because like where my family are from, like they've lived there for 250 years, and all the same families have. So that you've grown up with them, like you know who they are
yeah,
for generations. Like this, they're almost kind of like family in a way. Like so it's kind of different. But like oh damn man, definitely when I lived in England, it was kind of like I would never answer my door unless I knew it was someone who was coming. Like I just never bother
Well, it's
because
always the some numpty asking if you want double guys in. It's just
yeah.
the amount of people, right? The amount of right, this will make you laugh. One of the best ones I had here, right? As I mentioned, I am 5 floors in the air in a tower block. I have a balcony about yay big, right?
Mhm.
About the size of a postage stamp. I
Right.
had some numpty ring my intercom and say, "I'm wondering if you'd like a conservatory." Seriously, I kid you not. A
Yes,
bloody conservatory. It's like, yeah, have you got a rocket? I can put it on an all so I can hover it outside the flat. Yeah, look.
like if you could make one on my balcony, then I would have one. If you could do
Oh,
it,
I would. Yeah, it'd be awesome. You can make this little narrow conservatory
that'd be great, wouldn't it? That'd be
with a
great.
turret. I want a turret. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, that'd be good. I was thinking of things that I missed from the UK recently, like and it wasn't a huge list, but like for some reason, like I got like this real like nostalgia about something that I never did, and I was like, I wish that I'd done that, and then I was kind of like reminiscing about it. It was like a canal holiday on a
Oh,
canal.
yeah. Yeah.
I was like, why did I want to do one of those? And then it's kind of like they don't really do them in Ireland. Like there's one route, but like no one really does it.
Yeah.
It's not particularly
They did
great,
them a
but
lot around where I'm from because obviously
yeah,
you've got that major system and obviously the canal runs through Macclesfield,
yeah,
goes all the way up to Sheffield. It goes through the Manchester Ship Canal and all the
yeah,
way over to Chester and then
yeah,
Liverpool eventually.
yeah,
Funny, my parents, right, their honeymoon was on a barge holiday. It's
yeah,
quite. I've never done it myself either, but it's something we've talked about doing. Like, because I think
yeah,
it'd be
yeah.
really kind of cool.
Yeah, I think yeah, I think it'd be nice. Like I just yeah, I don't know why. Well, it never happened anyway. But I don't know
Yeah.
why. Like, I kind of like got so like kind of like wistful about it, and I was like, oh, I've just really done that. Like, I think the year of lockdown is like started to find. If you can't tell by my Jedi robe that I'm wearing for
Yeah.
a
I thought you were actually going to say I was getting all wistful for the fact that I'm not a Jedi. You know, I could
Yeah.
see that. I mean, look at this, right? If they ever need to recast Obi-Wan, Ewan McGregor can do one, mate. You've got the
Yeah.
beard, you've got the head, you've got the robes, man. Yeah,
Well,
exactly. That's what I mean.
if I put the hood up, like you can't even tell. Like,
Oh,
my
look
neck.
at that. Look
So,
at that. Yeah.
hello there.
You missed the hand.
Yeah. These aren't the droids you're looking for.
Yes, these aren't the droids we're looking for. Yeah.
I love a bit of Obi-Wan. I'm a big Star. Obviously, I have a Star Wars robe, so it's not like I'm not into Star Wars. I have a bit of a not really a love-hate relationship with the prequels. Like I can take them or leave them. There's some I can. I'm.
Well, I mean, I really liked the second and the third one. I mean, I really liked the second one. For me, was a winner.
Oh, yeah.
I couldn't care less about the fact that 90% of it is people being boring about mines, right? I couldn't care less. It had Christopher Lee as a Sith Lord.
Yeah.
It's a winner for me, mate.
Yeah.
And he has a fight with Yoda.
Yeah, no, yeah. I still remember it being in the cinema for that, and when like Yoda kind of creaks in on his
Yeah.
cane, like people
You
started.
got Christopher Lee giving it his best Dracula stare, you know.
Yeah.
It's like, you're
Like,
going to have it, you little git. You know?
people started laughing because they were like, "What the hell is this?" And then like the fight scene started, and everyone was like, "And this is in England." People started applauding, which is very unusual.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, like that's actually my least favorite of all the Star Wars films, but I still like
Is it?
it. I'll still watch it. Yeah.
Like I say, I can forgive it a multitude of sins because of Christopher Lee. Because the man is my hero.
But like
the Phantom Menace, I think the Phantom Menace could be fixed, right, by making two major changes. Shoot Jar Jar Binks in the face early on and get rid of that damn kid. The rest of it is fine. I'm sorry, but that kid playing Anakin was just the most annoying child on the planet.
It's the thing with doing child acting. Like apparently they were going to do him as like a bit older. He was going to be in the original script. He was about 14 or 15 , and then he decided to like.
That would have worked better. That would have worked a lot better.
It would have been less creepy as well because.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because that's something the missus always talk about. It's like it's a bit noncy, isn't it?
yeah, definitely. Because like Amidala's like quite a bit older than him, and then like when they again in the Attack of the Clones, it's been 10 years, and he's like, "You haven't changed. You're exactly as I remembered you," and she's like. This is kind of
creepy.
So with the prequels, but like I think like Ewan McGregor was like perfect as Obi-Wan.
He was great. He was great, to be fair.
Yeah, he was great.
I was a bit cheesed off that Neeson didn't make it any longer than the first film because he was superb as well. But I like Neeson.
That was his kind of
and Darth Maul was completely underused, man. I mean, he was a badass with his saber.
They brought him back though. He didn't die for years after. They brought him back. He was in the Clone Wars cartoons and the Rebels and all that kind of stuff. Like
I haven't watched them yet. I'm getting out of that because I'm one of these Luddites that's only recently got like demand TV. I've lived on Freeview for like decades. It's just I've only just like sort of embraced change and got like Netflix. But it's all still new to me. I'm like, oh, look at this, it's on there.
Oh my God, there's so many things. There's too many things, really, when you think about it. There's too much stuff. Like do you remember
when you were a kid, it was an event, wasn't it? If somebody put like a decent film on a Saturday night or something, it was an event. We're actually going to get a decent film on TV for once.
Like you actually used to look for, like, one of the things you look forward to for Christmas wasn't
I used to every year, never got it any other time of the year, but we get the TV guide at Christmas, so I could plot out what TV specials and films I was going to watch.
And it'd always be like the Indiana Jones trilogy would be on, Star Wars would be on,
James Bond, several Bonds, Carry On films. Perfect. So funny enough, last year I was sitting in here. And I think it was Christmas Day actually, and I was like, TV's crap, and I was flicking through the Freeview, and I went, oh, thank God for ITV3, It was like back-to-back carry-on movies all day. So I just sat in front of the telly eating cheese, watching carry-on films and drinking beer, you know.
I was really tempted to get the entire box set there. It was like 25 quid on Amazon for the entire box set. But I was looking at it and it was like, it's only one DVD. And I was like, this is going to be proper dodgy. Like 30 odd films on one DVD. Now I know like the quality because they're just straight from TV.
Yeah. Well, I've actually got the. I'll take a picture of them for you at some point. They're all in the individual cases, and they make up the spines, make up the montage of the caricature faces. Yeah, it's great.
Yeah, I love them. It's a real English thing. Like it's some American people do know it, but like it's a real English. But it's quite big in Ireland as well. Actually, my granddad introduced him to me, and he was Irish, but he loved them, and he loved Charlie Chaplin, and he loved Morecambe and Wise as well. He was massively into Morecambe and Wise, and that's another great Christmas tradition.
Christmas thing, yeah. Morecambe and Wise Christmas specials, yeah.
But now, like with like Netflix and Disney Plus and Amazon and all that kind of stuff, it's like it's kind of taken. You can get whatever you want whenever you want it now. Like,
pretty much, yeah. I mean, you sometimes have to like go, oh, I'll try this one. Oh, I'll try this one. Try this one. Oh, there it is. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah, and like you get people that kind of like get upset when something comes off like one of the services, and it's like, man, like there was stuff that we used to have to wait for like 5 years. It'd be in the cinema, and if you didn't get to see it in the cinema, like it was like 4 years before it came onto TV.
Yeah, because you'd wait an entire year before we got it on VHS tape.
Yeah.
And then there'd only be like about 6 of them in the entire county. So you'd have to wait for about a month to get hold of one.
Like you'd go every single week, like to go, and it'd be gone. Someone had already had it, and you'd be like, so it's like we're getting to, we're turning to real old fucking men. We're like in our day.
Back in our day, yeah.
What have we become? Anyway.
Right. Book. You've got a book out tomorrow, haven't you? Is it tomorrow?
It is tomorrow. So it's actually out already. It's kind of strange. So you can it's out officially tomorrow, the 14th of November.
I had the same sort of thing. It was like the paperback was out for a while. Yeah. But then the Kindle goes live. Yeah.
Kindle goes live, yeah. So they bring the paperback out early, so like you can leave reviews on Amazon.
Yep.
So this is it. This is my little book.
There you go.
Yeah.
It's Dead Man Walking.
That's my little name. That's the little publisher and everything there.
Oh, there's little Dean's name as well.
Dean's name, Ben there as well.
And Ben,
Yeah, so this is it, yeah. So Dead Man Walking. There's a chapter that you liked called Trouble at the Sticks.
Yes. Oh, I did indeed. I read it. I was just reading that first bit and it was just like, I'd drink in that place. That sounds like my kind of bar.
I based it on the Crazy House in Liverpool, like a floor of the Crazy House. I don't know if you ever went. Funnily enough, I was talking to someone. I do a Wheel of Time podcast with Chris Hultman.
With Hultman,
we had a guest on who's a Canadian fella who does a Wheel of Time thing, and then Hultman's internet went down, so he went off the call for a bit. So we were just chatting, and we were just he was saying like how he'd always wanted to go to Galway and everything. He was like, and I went to Manchester, went to Liverpool, and I went to this bar called it was like 3 floors, and it was like different types of metal music and rock music. I was like, Crazy House, and he was like, I go there like every second weekend, like. So like I based the sticks on kind of like one of those floors basically, like because the Crazy House, for people that don't know it, it's like you go in. I don't even know if it's open anymore or not. Well, it's not open now anyway.
No, well, I was going to say nothing's open now, mate.
Open now, yeah. You go in, and each floor there's 3 different floors, and it was all like kind of alternative music, but like.
It's similar to Gillies in Manchester, except that was all on one level, but different sprawling rooms off it.
Yeah. So this was like you'd have like the bottom floor, which would be like proper like heavy metal, like.
There was all when I went. That was where all your
Yeah.
They did thrash metal and black metal. There was all these guys in corpse paint, you know.
Yeah. Then you have like the second floor, which would be like the step below that. So you'd have like
well, that was the bigger floor, wasn't it? And that was where all your sort of more mainstream stuff was. And I remember the small bit up the top, that was where us lot got shoved, because you had all your stuff like your Nine Inch Nails and your Ministry, all your industrial and goth stuff up like shoved in the attic out the way.
The great thing about this place as well, it was 2 for 1 for all the drinks. So like you could go with like not that much money, and you would like you'd get drunk quite easily.
Yeah.
Like
did you ever go to Grand Central in Manchester? Down Oxford Street, next to Oxford Street Station.
No, I don't think so. Actually, I don't think so.
Yeah, because that place that was the place where you'd go on like the early part of the evening, because they had like the NUS discount, but they didn't give a flying fuck who used it. And it sort of started from and it went all night. So you'd go in there and you'd load up, and then you'd just basically stagger down Oxford Street to Gillies, Rock World, all around the corner to where I'd go. I think it probably died by the time you were around. A place called the Banshee. It was a goth club there. It was like down.
Yeah.
It was underground. It was under a pub, but it was sort of an underground cellar club. That was awesome. That was my misspent youth in there.
Yeah, I saw Nicola Olivieri's band in there once. It's the one that's off Piccadilly Gardens, isn't it?
Yes.
Yeah. So you go downstairs. So that was the kind of like what I had in mind for it, because like obviously with the Sticks, like it has like you go in and it's like a normal kind of normalish kind of like that kind of pub that has like a stage and then you go down to where the real actions.
The underworld. Well, I got that. I mean, I got that. It very, very much had the crossing the Rubicon kind of vibe to it, you know. Expecting Caron to come out with his, with his coins, like.
he might make an appearance in the sequel.
Oh, he should, man.
So
I love that scene. It made me really nostalgic for like Slimelight in London. It was just like, oh damn it.
Yeah. I mean, that's the good thing about like about this like idea for that Nick Holloran's kind of world, is that like I can literally bring anything into it. Like I could bring Lovecraft into it if I wanted to.
Oh, of course you could, yeah. Well, it's funny you should say that, because I mean, something that when I was reading it, I got real serious. Like, I don't know how familiar you are with some of the old pulp detective stuff. I got some serious like Anton Zarnak vibes and Teddy London. They were like a guy, C.J. Henderson, who was one of the old hard-boiled pulp writers, and all his stuff. It was basically hard-boiled PI detectives versus the Cthulhu mythos.
Right. Okay.
And it's just genius stuff. It's just like, I love it. I mean, and I just got some. So yeah, when you said it was high praise, it was indeed for me, because I love Zarnak and all that. I was just like, oh, this is badass.
It's good. Like it's handy. Like, because I can kind of I sowed a couple of like little kind of seeds into the first one. About what might pop up in the second one. So like I think I love doing that. Yeah, so like I kind of mentioned like about Wendigos have been seen in the area and stuff like that. And
well, there you go. You could go full on Lovecraft there, couldn't you? Ithaca. The Windwalker of the Wastes.
Exactly. Yeah. But like I could go anywhere. Like that's the thing. That's the whole concept of it, is that like, you know, I could bring vampires into it if I wanted to, and all this kind of stuff. I don't have to, like, but I could
do whatever the hell you want. I mean, I tend to write a lot of my stuff. I give myself that freedom because it's liberating, isn't it? No, not that the fact that, I mean, I leave stuff open in case I might one day randomly get an idea. I probably never will, but I like having that feeling that I can if I want.
Yeah. You're not in a box. You've not like kind of narrowed.
You're not painted yourself in a corner. I like that sort of freedom of to go, well, I could do whatever the hell I want with this story if I want to do it. Yeah.
That's one of the reasons as well, like why I started it. This story as his first one isn't like his origin or anything. It's like
Yeah.
it deals with like how he became the way that he is, and then the story is like 5 years later. Because like one of the, there's a few reasons why I did that, but one of the reasons was to give myself that freedom. Whereas like I can go and do a story set a year
after. Yeah.
Exactly.
The other one I thought that really reminded me of, which is another one. I forgot to write it down. Some of my favourite stuff was. Have you ever read the Titus Crow series by Brian Lumley?
I've heard about it, but I've never read it.
You should read it. It's bad. It's great stuff because I mean that again is sort of mythos, but occult detective.
Right.
I think you'd really dig it because he something I like about Lumley that I think is lost on some people is that he writes with a nod and a wink. There's always
you do.
Yeah, like I do. I mean, I mean, there's always a tongue in a cheek somewhere, you know. And I love that kind of thing. Well, that's something I really liked about your story because it really made me smile. It made me chuckle. You know, I was just like, yeah.
That's good. It's like I didn't want it to be like too serious, like, you know, because it's like it does go into some dark places, I think. It does touch on.
I mean, the whole concept of it is pretty damn dark, but
yeah, and like
I like peaks and troughs, shadows and highlights.
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, I put humor in things to highlight the horror because if you've got a bit that's quite funny, and then you have a bit that's really disturbing, they stand out towards each other. I mean, you've got to be careful that it doesn't just like go and not work.
Yeah, like you could descend into parody of like of something that way. Yeah, I remember like one of the lines that I wrote. I think it's the start of the third chapter, so it's just after the big kind of action scene in the sticks, and it was. I'm very critical of my own writing. Like I generally, and like I don't.
I think we all are we? Yeah. I mean, I sit and beat myself up over things like. It's like the other day I was reading the one that's just come out, and I was going, "Why did you put that? Why didn't you put something else?" And it was it's too late now.
Well, I remember writing this line as the first line of the chapter, and I just wrote it, and I was like, "Man, that's a great line." And I was like, "Is there any way that I can actually open the whole book with this line?" So I kind of thought about it for a little bit, and then I was like, "Nah, I just leave it where it is because it's like as you just said, it came from like a really kind of heavy." Gruesome kind of ending of one chapter, and then the first one is like a punchline. But like so that was fun. But
well, I know exactly which bit you're talking about, and I can tell you now that it works great how you've got it because because the way it was set up, it did make me kind of go, you know, one of those great moments. That you do. One of the things that a lot of people appreciate about that whole sort of noir, hard-boiled thing is them kind of moments like that.
Yeah.
I don't want to give anything away by saying what I mean, but you know what I mean. If nobody else does.
I'm really bad at remembering my own stuff. I can remember anyone else's. Like I can remember like passages from stuff I read 20 years ago. But my own stuff that actually came from here, like I literally have to read it to kind of remember.
Glad I'm not the only one because I think it's a case of when you're writing something, that's all your brain is full of, right? As soon as you finish, you basically go right, done, out, chuck it away, something else, and so you fill your head with some other nonsense. And I get it when I do these readings. Like I went back a while ago when I did Mr. Mannequin. Because that was one of the earliest things I had published, and it was one of the last readings I did. And I was reading it, and God, I don't remember fucking any of this.
Yeah. It's weird, isn't it? Like I remember like about this. I remember like a lot of what's behind it, like why I did why I chose to do certain things. Like so, like when you ask me like any like kind of specific things about it, like. I'll know like, well, I did it because of this. But
yes.
All details of what I wrote, I'd have to look at it. But like one of the other reasons why like I set it 5 years after was because I love the John Wick films. And,
I've noticed.
Yeah.
But not for that, for something we can't talk about. But I've noticed
Well, like my favorite.
that really made me smile. It's like, I know where he's got that from.
But like, so like, I think the second one is the best of the three films. But like, what I loved about the first one that kind of drew me in almost straight away was that this like, everyone knew who John Wick was, but it wasn't like no one just knew him because of his reputation. They knew him as a person, so he was going places, and they were like, "Oh, hey John, how's it going?" Like, you know, when he the first time he gets attacked in his house, and the cop comes around, and he's like, "Oh, hey John," and like, this like familiarity of it. So that's what I wanted to do with it.
It's quite refreshing, really, because you always get like you know, like the El Mariachi films.
Yeah.
They know him as the mariachi, and he's this shadowy figure, and all the rest of it.
Yeah,
I think it'd be really funny if they sort of went, "You're right, a mariachi. How's it going? Do you want a pint?"
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
I liked that with Boondock Saints. Actually, they did similar things in that. But that's got Billy Connolly in it, who's another one of my heroes. So I'm gonna love it. You know?
So that's kind of like what I wanted to do with that was like, because like I thought, well, man, like with the concept of it and everything, there's a lot of, it could easily just turn into like a series of exposition of like, this is the way this is the way this is the way this is. So what I thought was like, if I set it 5 years on, Nick already knows everything pretty much. Well, not everything, but most of the things about how this world works. So he's introducing the reader to these kind of things through people that he meets.
I mean, I personally like doing that. I like starting a story sort of halfway through and then almost flashing back to things. I mean, I think it works like in a short story because if you keep it linear, you've got to remember, like, and that's a novelette, right? I mean, what's the word limit? What's the word count on that? About 12, 13, something like that?
Yeah. I would love to go to 13 actually, but yeah, it's 12. 13 would have been good.
So you've only got that amount of words to tell everything. And if you spend, and you've got to remember that people read, and if you don't get them by the throat right really early on, you've lost them.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
You've only got this amount of words. I mean, I like doing it. Like, I do it even with like a 3,000 word story, even though, I struggle. Well, you know, I struggle with word counts anyway. But not a word, you. But I like to do that anyway. Like, start halfway through, because you can start with a really like awesome scene. People are going, "What the bruh?" And then cut back and explain it a bit. I think you've done that in kind of a larger sense by starting halfway through the whole narrative.
Yeah. And the thing is,
if you want to go back and flesh it out right at the beginning, you can in another novelette. You know.
Well, the next one will be a little bit. It's going to be a little bit longer, so it's going to be novella size. The next one,
novella size.
More novella size. But yeah, so forgot what I was going to say then. But yeah, so with setting it like midway through, like so say 5 years into it as well. It's a story that's like personal to him as well. So it's not like, which I think was important to do it as his first one. He had to have. I
think so. Yeah.
In it himself, because I think with a lot of like detective sort of stuff, they're always more effective if there is personal stakes to it.
I mean, well, that's the whole big draw with the original sort of hard-boiled genre, wasn't it? It was always sort of like, you know, this guy took my woman and shot my dog, kind of. You know?
But like, you know, so I think when you get a little bit further into it, you can do cases that he has no kind of stakes into it because you're already invested in the character at that point.
Well, he did a similar thing with the like the Dresden Files, didn't they? The Jim Butcher series.
I only started reading through those after I finished this book because I knew of them and I knew the concept of it.
Yeah.
And when I was writing this, I was consciously like, I want to make it. I don't want it to be too much. So I was like, there's no magic.
It's not that much like it, to be absolutely honest with you. It's a completely different setup. I mean, Dresden's much more of a pillock. But I mean, I haven't read that much of it. I mean, it's more my partner's cup of tea. But yeah, I mean, I was saying that more into it, to more of the case of how it's set up, because you had this big meaty case right at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you had more sort of like almost side cases. Well, he actually did a book of side cases, didn't he?
It's called Side Cases, yeah.
Side cases, yeah.
Yeah, I started reading them. I started reading it afterwards, after I finished Dead Man, and I was actually
Storm Warning, the first one.
Stormfront, yeah, which is a bit
Stormfront,
unfortunate.
that's it.
It's a bit of an unfortunate name now, actually, these days. Isn't
Yeah,
it
it really is.
yeah. It's so we started it. So I started reading it after I finished. I wanted to read it for a while. I knew he was like a magician and stuff, so I was kind of like, with this one, I was like, no, I'm not going to put any magic in it. It's going to be just like a normal bloke.
I love his partner. I love his mate.
Yeah.
The talking skull.
Yeah. It's good.
Bob.
Bob. So I know that
I got real Sabrina vibes when I read that, because it's Salem, this old wizard that's now trapped in this insignificant form. You know?
Yeah, because he was in Salem as well. Like he is around at Salem. I think it's revealed at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I started reading it anyway. And I was a little bit nervous when I started reading it, because I was like, man, there is a few similarities here. Like without.
It can't be helped, really. I mean, I read something the other day in a short story collection, because I read a lot of like the mythos anthologies and that. I just buy them and read them. And there was a story by a writer I've never heard of, and I was reading it and I was going, shit, when did this come out? It's just like, oh god damn it, that's like one of my stories. It looks like I've ripped this guy off.
It does happen. Like you can just have like,
it happens with music more often than anything, and you get these people going, oh, they ripped off this song. It's like, there's only so many notes in the world. You know, there's only so many notes. It's you know, it stands to reason by the law of averages that at some point you're going to end up accidentally ripping somebody off.
Yeah, like this is what I say. There's only so many stories. It's just the way you tell them.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So that was it. So like with this one, like I kind of like, I knew about Dresden. I'd always wanted to read it, and I was like, I'm not going to read it until I had it on I had the first 3 on my Kindle ready to go from when I finished this. Because I was like, I'm not reading it when I'm writing it. And then I kind of rattled through them quite. I'm quite near the end of the series now. I do enjoy them. Like they get better as they go on. Like the first one has got a good story, but it's quite poorly written, to be honest with you. Like, but it was his first book, I suppose.
There was a few clunky passages, but yeah.
Yeah, there's some stuff like I just don't like it in the first books how he like kind of. But I think he's trying to do that. He's trying to do the what's his name now? The Godfather of hard boiled pulp. He did the Long Goodbye and all that kind of stuff.
Oh.
I've got one of his books over there, but I can't actually see it.
I know exactly who you mean, and I just can't think of it.
I'll come to it. Anyway, Raymond Chandler.
Chandler. Chandler.
So he's trying to do that.
I was thinking Le Carre, and I was like, no, it's not. No.
Yeah. He's still. He was trying to do that kind of thing. So like, but for me, like as a modern kind of thing, it just doesn't work, because like what he was doing in the first couple of Dresden books, and particularly in Stormfront, was when someone would walk into his office or something, it'd be like, she walked in and she has brown hair and green eyes and she has skin that is this color and this, and her dress is this, and it'd literally just be like, and this and this and this and this and this and this and this. And it's
I'd like to actually name that as actually an affliction. I'm going to call it Stephen King syndrome. The toast was slightly golden with a few flaky bits of brown around the edge. But I did that as well. It's like, you know, I always talk about this novel that I wrote, the first one, that's not going to see the light of day for quite a while. I did it right at the beginning. It was like I spent like half a chapter describing this woman in a factory, and she wasn't even a main character. I just spent ages going, her hair was like burnished gold.
That's surprising, seeing as you're such a big Lovecraft fan who will just not describe anything.
No, well, I don't tend to that much. I tend to give bits and pieces here. I'll say what colour his hair is, whether it's long or not.
Yeah.
Strokes his beard, you know.
That's the funny thing is, like, strokes his beard. Looks like wears a Jedi robe, but like, that's the thing. Though. That's the modern thing now, though. Like, it's you kind of describe people incidentally, and you know, you might.
Well, I much prefer it myself if I'm reading, because if you do get these massive expositional scenes, again, it's that thing of you having to grab people, because by the very nature they have to come right at the beginning, because that's when you're introducing the character. But if your first chapter is just a series of like, oh, she had a blue blue blouse on with green buttons and her hair was tied in a knot. And
Yeah. I just don't think it's even that important anymore. Like it's not that important to get them down nailed to the absolute like last detail. Because one of the big reasons is because of adaptations to movie and film. And it causes issues like with people.
Of course it does.
If you describe someone exactly this way and then you have this fan following and then it gets turned into a TV show, all they do is complain about this person is...
I mean, one exception for me, I mean, one of the only people in, like, since I started writing kind of properly that I've really gone into any detail describing is Croon.
Right.
Because he kind of needed it. He kind of had to get that.
Yeah.
Because we can talk about that now, because we couldn't last time.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Like, if it makes sense to the story.
But again, I didn't do it in an info dump. I kind of did it in, like, you know.
Yeah. Well, the thing is the Croon, and this is from 0 Hour. That's a project that we're working on. That's out in January. Like, you had, he has holograms which people can look at. It's like one of those things where like people have like.
Well, I kind of had to put it in there so everybody else knew what he looked like.
But it's like it's one of those things that always kind of strikes me as a bit odd, like where you have a main character and then the narrator spends time describing what the main character looks like. Yeah. It's like no one thinks like that. No one like thinks like today I'm going to make sure my brown eyebrows are like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, like, I mean, it's funny you say that. I mean, I struggle with writing things in the first person, not because I can't do it. I actually quite like doing it, but I really struggle keeping to the bloody point. I will go all Stephen King on it and start going and describe everything. And I'm actually writing something at the minute, which is kind of a pseudo sequel to Burning Reflection. And I've done like about 12,000 words into it, and I've got to a point now, and I'm just going, I need to start again and change perspective, because it's just not working for me. Because I was reading through it and I was just like, man, that's dragging, because I'm describing how he's feeling all the time. And if I was doing it in the third person, I could just go, oh, he spat on the floor and raised his fist and said, you know. I mean, I prefer to write in a kind of punchy manner, which I get from the way reading your work. You're very similar. We both tend towards the punchy, the action orientated.
Yeah.
Rather than these big, long, drawn out, meandering expositional pieces.
Yeah. Like
I guess it's what you like reading. You know,
yeah, kind of, which is kind of weird because, like, obviously, I read like a lot of classical fantasy stuff, which wouldn't be like that.
Well, I mean, I grew up reading like the purplest of purple prose. Yeah. I mean, I'm a massive fan of Poe and Mackin and Blackwood and Lovecraft. You know, purple.
Yeah, I suppose it's just kind of those things. Like, it's just like. See, the way is I studied film like for my degree. Like I have an art degree, and my thing was film. That was the thing that I kind of did my dissertation and everything. So the way I kind of write is like I picture it in my head.
I tend to write episodically. I tend to write like a series. You know, like a good example is like Buffy. I tend to write chapters like an episode of Buffy.
Mm-hmm.
You know, there's an arc. There's a thing. It all works together, but it's each chapter is kind of its own beast. You know.
Yeah, I do the same kind of thing, and like it means that like,
one second.
It's gone.
I'm running away.
Oh no! Come back! Come back! Don't just leave me alone to talk.
Yeah, sorry. I've got another computer set up over there, and it was just doing something really weird. I think it's possessed by the devil. So,
it probably is in your house.
Probably, yeah. Or an octopus. So either possessed by the devil or an octopus.
Yeah. No, like I do it the same kind of way, and that it means that like it keeps the pacing good because it means that there's like a resolution all the time. There's a cliffhanger resolution, development, and with Dead Man Walking, I wrote that first person, but I wrote it present tense. So like that kind of got I was able to kind of get away from that like kind of dwell
Yeah, well,
into.
this is the issue I've had with this novella I'm writing. It's that I did it past tense,
Yeah.
first person, and it is very, very Lovecraft, like
Right. Yeah.
almost a pastiche, and it doesn't really sound like me, and so yeah. But it's an easy fix. It's an easy fix. The story's there. I've just got to go back and rewrite it in a different bloody tense.
Maybe just put it into present tense, because like the thing with present tense is that the character's reacting to it at the same time as it's happening. So you get away with like.
But the very nature of the story, I can't really go into much detail about it. But the very nature of it, it needs to be past tense.
Right. Okay. So you have to go to third person then.
Yeah.
Don't do second person. Never second person.
It hurts my head. It's like, seriously, I get it in anthologies, and I'm reading something, and it opens with like, it's just, oh my god, it's in second person. I have done this thing a couple of times where I've flicked forward and said, how many pages is it? 10 pages of second person. Nope.
It turns me off straight away. It's like,
I just can't get into it.
It's like it's because it's you. Because there's like a first line might be, you are feeling betrayed or something like that. It's always very grand as well. It's always like these,
you are enraged by the lights in the sky.
And it's like, I'm not though. I'm not. I'm reading the book, and it's the style.
I think it's that suspension of disbelief that kills it for me, because when it's saying you are standing here, you are looking like this, you are drinking like this, you are doing this. So no, I'm not. I'm nothing like that person.
That's what it is. It pulls you out straight away, because it's like
it's that disconnect, isn't it? It's just,
it makes me realize, and I know every story that I'm reading, I know that, but some of them I can be drawn in more. With a second person one, I know that I'm reading something more than anything else, and it's like, I'm more than that I know that I'm reading it. It's actually winding me up, because I'm like, saying you all the time. Stop saying you. Stop saying you. Stop saying you. Stop saying you. And it's like, oh man, and it just doesn't make. It makes my brain hurt when it goes from dialogue to.
Oh. Yeah, I guess some people like it. I mean, it's horses for courses, isn't it? I mean, whatever floats your boat. It's just not for me. I just can't get on with it. Anyway, we're gonna have to start wrapping this up, because I've got all the things to do in a minute. But right. So it's funnily enough, before we start doing this, I actually said, now we've got Callum doing graphics and things like this, because he's got some really cool stuff that it does with it, which he'll do in the edit. I could probably get rid of the cardboard, and somebody said, no, don't get rid of the cardboard, because they said it's quaint, right? So I'm now going to call it Blue Peter Chic, right? So there we go. If you want to get hold of this novelette that he's been yabbering about, it's getbook.app/Dead Man Walking, all one word. And that's the devil there. And I tried with one of their other publications, their sporran size. They'll fit in your sporran. So any Scotsmen on the prowl. Yeah.
Well, I'll compare it to a can of Rockshaw.
Yeah.
Shakespeare, eat your heart out. Shall I compare thee to a summer's day? No.
I compare thee to a Rockshaw.
Can of Rockshaw.
I love it. Right, we got some of the links for Mr. Green here. We have his website is there we go, davegreenwriter.wordpress.com, and his Amazon thing, where you've got all of his lovely publications, is viewauthor.@David_Green.
That's me. That's where.
Excellent. Well, cheers again. We've not covered anything vaguely useful. It's been an absolute pleasure, mate.
Yeah. We'll be on again soon. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Excellent. I would speak to you.
Probably do this actually when we're doing it, because we don't want. We don't want to.
Product placement.
Yeah. Talking of Carry On films.
Yeah.
The amount of
yeah. And don't forget Chicago Town Pizzas. From Ireland.
Man, we've done a lot of product placement in this one.
We really have, haven't we? Yeah.
Jesus. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, as always, mate, it's a pleasure. I'll speak to you soon. I'm going to get Mr. Callum so he can put tentacles all over it. Yeah. All right, mate. I'll see you soon.
See you later on.
Thanks for joining us. Good night.